Hi there, it's Kathy with Be Creative with Kathy, and this video is for my club members. I'll show you how I put together October's stamp club packet. Now, I believe I have 3 packets left over, so if you're interested in getting a packet, all you have to do is place a $35 order at my online store. The host code is in the description, and I will send you a packet too. So let's jump right in and get started with the cards. Now, I've done a little bit in advance, so my packets might look different than what you get in the mail, but I'll show you everything to make them look the same. The third card, so what we do is we make 2 cards together, and then I send a third card, and this month my third card looked like this. So, and if you check out my videos often, you'll see this will be one of the cards. I'll show you how to make it very soon. So let's go ahead with the first card. Now, the first card is going to take up the majority of our time. I've done a little bit in advance, so it won't take quite as long, but it's a pretty fancy card. Now, my sample card looked like this. So it's called a pop-up or shutter pop-up card. So it goes like this, and then I went ahead and made it into a full card like this. Now, I can't remember the lady's name that I cased this from, but I'll have that in the description of the video as well, and you could go check out her. She did a really cute Christmas card. Now, this was my sample. Today, this is what I made at Stamp Club, so this is what I'm going to make. I'm going to make the Christmas one, and I'll do the inside a little bit different. I have a little bit inside, or a little bit different inside to show you too. So like I said, let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start with the packet that has mostly early espresso in there. Take out all of our little pieces and parts. So we have our card base. We have a basic white piece. That's going to be the inside. So that's 5 1/4 by 4. What we really need, and I'm going to just dump all these on here, is these 2 pieces here. So this is a piece of designer series paper from the Country Woods, and this is a piece of early espresso, and they're the exact same size, right? So what we're first going to do is we're going to attach these 2 together. Now, when I put my designer series paper onto my early espresso, I'm going to keep my adhesive out here within a 1/2 inch of the edge, because we're going to use excuse me, this center part on our next card. So let me show you that really quick. It looks like this, and see how there's that early espresso and there's that wood grain. So we don't want those 2 to stick together. That's why we're only going to put adhesive dang, that frog in my throat, on the outside. Okay, so I'm going to use liquid glue. That way I can get that fine line so I don't have the inside pieces stuck together. And I'll show you, maybe you watch and pause the video and back up, but how it's going to work. So we want just a little bit of adhesive, just like that. And then we're going to just take this, whoop, I just tapped it on there, and lay it down, make sure it matches up completely, and make sure that it's stuck down. So now I have my designer series paper, the same size as my early espresso. Okay, now that's step 1. Let's go on, and I'll show you how to cut this piece now, because we want to take this and we're going to turn it into a frame. So I'm going to take, this is the 4 1/4 inch side. I'm going to set that up atop my paper trimmer here, and I'm going to line it up here at the 1/2 inch mark on the side. And then hang on, I have to stand up. And then I'm going to take my scoring blade, put him away. We want to cut from 1/2 inch. So I'm going to put the little notches at the side of my blade at 1/2 inch. Get that lined up, set it down, press hard to go through both layers down to 5 inches, or a 1/2 inch at the top border and a 1/2 inch at the bottom. So like I said, start at a 1/2 inch, and we're going to slice down to 5 inches here. Then we have that slit on our card. Let's do the same thing to the other side. Like I said, I'm going to line it at a 1/2 inch here. I'm going to start at a 1/2 inch and go down to 5 inches. But since my blade's already here at 5, I'm just going to go up. I'm going to start at 5 and go up to a 1/2 inch like that. Okay, so now I pressed hard enough. I have those 2 slits in my card stick cardstock, giving me a 1/2 inch border on each side. So now we need to do the other ends or the other side. So now I have the 5 1/2 at the top. I'm going to line it up at a 1/2 inch here, and I'm going to look at my cut marks here and here, and I'm going to run my blades between there, which is really a 1/2 inch and 3 3/4. But I think it's easier for me that I can just take that little notch in my cutting blade and run it down to this cut line down here. And sometimes you can kind of feel when it gets to that cut mark, and now you have this piece. Oh, and it looks like I missed, oh, just a little bit there. So I have it like this, and I'm going to do the same thing to this side. 1/2 inch, cut line to cut line. Or 1/2 inch to 3 3/4. And then when you take this piece out, there we go. You have that little frame, right? 1/2 inch all the way around. And you have 2 pieces of paper like this. Now we need to cut this down by 1/4 of an inch. So right now it is 3 1/4. I'm going to cut it at 3 inches. And then this one measures, should be 4 1/2, right? I'm going to cut it down to 4 1/4. So this piece needs to be 3 inches by 4 1/4, and then it layers nicely on that piece. And we're going to set that aside for our next card. All right, the hard part is almost done. Okay, then you have 3 pieces in your packet that look like this, right? We're going to score, make them look like this. So I'm going to score on just 3 sides, top, bottom, and one side at 1/2 inch. So I'm going to get rid of my cutting blade, use my scoring blade, line it up at that 1/2 inch, and just score. And then one side, I'm going to line it up at that 1/2 inch and score. And then at the end, bottom or top, whichever, I'm going to line it up at that 1/2 inch and score. And now I have a piece, can you see, with those 3 score lines? Now I want to make another tab, so I'm going to put this side in at the 1/2 inch, and I'm going to score from the top down to that score line. So set that at a 1/2 inch, bring it up here. I'm going to stand up again so I can see, and take my little notch in my blade and take it down to that 1/2 inch mark. So then you have a score line that looks like that. There, you can see it. Okay, let's do the same thing over here. I'm going to line it up at 1/2 inch, and I'm going to score down to that score line. So now we have those score lines on our card. Can you see that? The 2 score lines up here, the score line all the way across, and the 2 score lines up here. Okay, set the paper trimmer for now. We'll need it again later, but I'm going to fold on those 3 score lines that we did in the beginning. And now we're going to trim away to make them look like this. Now wait, I'm going to put my score lines to the left. You'll need that. That's important when we start putting the card together. With my scissors now, I'm going to take and I'm going to cut. This is the long side. I'm going to cut along the long side and just snip here up to that score line that we made. See, so now we have this little tab right here. And then do the same thing down here, or on the other end. I don't know which is down and which is up. And now we have the little tab right here, just to those score lines. Do the same thing on the other side. And now all 4, oh, there we go. We have all 4 of our little tabs and just one side scored. Now we need to take some notches just so it folds and doesn't get hung up with the fancy fold we're making. So I'm going to notch, I think is what that's called, these little tabs real quick. Down here. Okay, let me clean up my mess real quick because we don't need those anymore. Those are all trash. And now we have all three. Oops, let me put my score line on this, on the left side. Now we have all three the same. I'm gonna take and I'm gonna fold those score lines back and forth. Make sure, because we're gonna fold them back and forth when we put our card together. Make sure they're nice and folded. Oop, this one needs a bone folder on him. He's not cooperating like those other little tabs are. Get a nice fold on him both ways. Okay, and then make sure little notches are folded back and forth. And then we have three of them. So you'll have to do that to all three of those brown pieces, okay? Okay, let's bring in our card base. Now this is scored in half. This is just 8.5 by 5.5 scored at 4 1/4. We're gonna fold it. And I'm gonna make sure sometimes you get that little extra at the one side's a little bit longer than the other. I'm gonna make sure that's the back, although I didn't have any issues. I didn't see any. Okay, so here, let's start the card, putting our card together. So we're gonna take one of these. Now, this is the fold line. Remember I said the fold is gonna go to the left. Let me make sure he's nice. Yes, he is. Okay, and I'm gonna turn him over. Not that it matters which side. I'm gonna turn on the back side. On this tab right here, I'm gonna put liquid glue on all three of those places. So we have our little notched area up here, all along this tab here, and then a little bit of glue on this notch down here. Then we're gonna take this piece with our folded side or our scored side to the left, and we're gonna line it up with our card so it's flush all the way to the side and the top and the bottom. Making sure it's straight like that, and press these down so they stay. And this now should fold up like that. See how it folds? Because we've only put glue on these three pieces here. Make sure that's stuck down. Make sure my little tabs fold back so it looks like that. Can you see what I've done to my card? Like that. Okay, now with the next piece, I'm gonna put glue the same places on those three sides where it has that score line, those two little tabs. And now I'm gonna do the same one with this one, but we want this score line right here to line up with the end of this piece of cardstock here. So I'm gonna lay it in there and kind of make sure it folds up so you can see it like that. Make sure it's flush top and bottom, like that, and then press that down to hold this one down. So see how that score line right here, hopefully you can see it. See the score line there is exactly next to that one, but yet it still folds up. That's where we need that. Okay, I hope that makes sense. So we're gonna fold these back, these little tabs at the top and the bottom. If I can get a hold of him, there he goes. Fold him back. We're gonna do the same thing with this third piece. So it's not gonna line up with this side. When we set it here, there's gonna be a little bit of space here, but we want it to fold so the score line is next to this piece of paper right here. Okay, let's go ahead and put some glue on there and see how we did. I guess we're gonna see how I did. Hopefully now you can stop the the video, pause or whatever, and go put your pieces on. So again, I'm gonna slide that under, line it up with that, make sure it's lined up top and bottom, because we don't want a bunch of glue all over. We want our card mechanism to be able to move, so we only want glue, hold on these little pieces right here. And this still lifts up, so I'm good. And now I have a cardstock that looks like this. There's the front of our card. One more time, I'm gonna lift these out of the way and make sure this is really stuck down. Apply a little pressure there. And then again, I'm gonna fold these tabs back, because when we add our frame, that's gonna be important. So we making sure they fold back. Now, while we have that piece there, also in your package, you have these 4 pieces of basic beige. There's a skinny one that's gonna fit here. I think that's 3/8 of an inch. You have to check my my gallery for the measurements, and I'll have those in the description. There's 2 pieces that fit right here. Just a little bitty border. And this one fits right here. And then the wider piece is going to fit right here. And now it kind of hides those mechanisms that we glued down. It makes the kind of inside of our card, I'll call it, look good. So this one, there, he fits better that way. He seems to be a little wide. I'm worried that I have glued my paper down not perfect, but I think it's going to look okay. So I'm going to go ahead and glue these down. I wanted to put them in place to make sure you see, and of course that I have them in the right place. But we're going to cover up those little pieces and make it look nice like that. Okay, let's put this one down. And this part you wouldn't have to use liquid glue. It doesn't need to be, you know, adhered that strong. But if I have it handy, that's what I'm going to use. Okay, and then this one, moving right along. And then we're going to put this one in here. Slide it so there's a nice little border right there. And then that last one. And mine is a little tight, but it's still going to have a little bit of border. It's going to look just fine. And this isn't your focal point. People shouldn't notice or pay attention to this part at all anyway. This is just kind of a cover up the mechanism part. There we go. So now you have a card that looks like that. And my border here is really small. In fact, I probably should have taken a paper trimmer and then trimmed that down a little bit, because it's probably how I put my mechanisms in that made it a little short here, but trust me, it's gonna work. Okay, so let's set this aside. Well, no, let's go ahead now and put our frame on there. Okay, we have all of our little pieces and parts here. I'm gonna lay these down and fold these over so that they're up or going to the left side, because we're going to take this piece here, we're going to add glue just to these little tabs right here, and we're going to glue this on. Now I suggest that you practice one time, because really this piece here is going to go on top of your frame, so you kind of want to slide it on there, and we only want glue on those tabs so that our mechanism, remember we want our frame to be free to move, so we only want glue on those little tabs. Okay, so I've tried it. It looks like it's gonna work good. We're all set. Now, if this doesn't fit on there, you might have to trim off a little bit here. Maybe you didn't get your whole score line gone and that's why it doesn't fit. But I haven't had any problems. It seems to work every time. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put glue on these 6 little tabs here. Maybe I am if my glue, there we go, my glue is going to cooperate. And I'm not going to put too much glue that it oozes out, but I want to make sure that I have enough glue on there that it gets held down. Although if there's not enough glue and it doesn't stick, you can always come back and add a little bit afterward. Okay, I have my glue on there. I'm going to take my frame, and you might want to check and see which one you want, the top and the bottom. Mine doesn't seem to make much difference. I'm going to kind of slip it on here, and now I'm going to lay those back, line up my frame with my card. They should be the same size here. Make sure this kind of slips into the front. Let's see if it's lined up with my card base. Seems to be, and now I'm going to just press that down. Whoop. It doesn't seem to be. There. Now it seems to be. I have a little issue here where I need to slide it around. There we go. And now I'm going to press it this way and go back this way. But you can see that now my card has that shutter pop-up mechanism. Nice, huh? Not too hard, just right. Okay, let's set that aside, let that glue do its job, and let's do some stamping. So in our package, you have a piece of basic white. There's our little birds. We'll hang on to those to the very end. Basic white, that is a little bit smaller than the other. This is, let me see if I can get it right, 4 1/8 by 3 1/8, and we need to, that's important later. We have a little strip here that we're going to stamp our sentiment on, and this piece here is going to be the inside of the card. So I'm going to stamp on this one. I have this one stamped in advance, and it's about the same technique, so I'm going to just show you on this one, and then I'll show you the finished product on the other one. So we're going to take the little deer and the little mama from our, did I even show you what we're using? We're using the Reindeer Fun here. I'm going to take this stamp here. I'm going to stamp it toward the bottom, and I'm going to get the mama tail as close as I can to the right. And that'll give us more room for the trees, which I'll show you in a minute. So I'm going to ink him up. This is Early Espresso ink, a nice dark brown for our deer. And like I said, I'm going to put their feet toward the bottom and the mama's tail toward the right. Kind of make sure, see if my head's in the camera, sorry about that. And not toward the bottom, get them straight and just stamp them down just like that. Now I'm not applying a lot of pressure. I don't want to smash those fine lines, but letting that ink do its job. And then we have a cute little deer just like that. Ta-da! Okay, so now next I would color my deer. Like I said, I've already done that in advance, and I'll show you when I'm done what I used and stuff, but I don't want to have you to sit here and watch me color. So then I took my Pool Party ink, whoop, that's not a Pool Party brush, this, and a Pool Party blending brush. Ink it up. I like to use the base of my ink pad to soften my ink, I guess you'll call it, before I go to my card. And then I'm going to just put a light layer of sky up here. So something like that. Not too much, just a little bit. I don't want it too dark. Although one of mine got pretty dark, and with all the other stuff going on, you don't even notice. So like that. Then to color my deer, I used the light Pecan Pie Stampin' Blend. Wait, hang on. I got to get the ink off of there. And I'm trying to find my chamois here, which I know was right here. Here it is. Let me get the ink off there before I get it all over my hands. Okay. Thank you for being patient with me. Okay, so again, to color my deer, I used just the light Pecan Pie Stampin' Blends. And then in his ear, or the inside of his ear, I used ivory. Nope, that's a color lifter. Where's my ivory marker? Here's my ivory marker. Ivory, or one time I even used the 1000 or the light skin tone color here. So let me show you what they look like. This one I colored them. Nope, this one I did look. I colored this one with the pinker of a pinkish shade of the neutrals. So it looks like that on the inside. And then this one, I just colored them all brown. I didn't worry about the inside of the deer. And then on the one for today, and I think this might be my favorite, I went ahead and colored it with the ivory. This one here, which is kind of my favorite natural tone, and I think I like that one best. On this one, I stamped my deer, which is this deer right here, right? And then I took this and stamped this in red on his neck, and then when I colored it, I just colored it around the bow. So that's how I did this one. I stamped it in real red with that bow, and that kind of gives it that Christmassy on the inside. Then I did take Pecan Pie and use some blending brush and got a little bit of brown down there at the bottom. On this one, I also took this stamp right here in Pecan Pie and made it look like dirt, so, or ground or whatever it is. So that's another option you can do on the inside too. Okay, so where's my, oh, it's right here, my inside. And then there, this one's all colored. Oh shoot, I need to do the blending at the top. Totally missed that. Let me hurry and just put some color on my blending brush and just put a light layer of blue here at the top. I think you need something so it's not all stark white. And then we're going to add to the bottom with the die piece cut from the kit. There, just a little bit of blue at the top. I have to find the chamois again. And clean that off my glass mat. I don't want to get that on my hands, which you get on my card, which will make a mess. There we go. Okay, so now we have this. And then like I talked about, the little die cut piece here, we're going to glue onto here. Okay, let me get everything out of the way and give me room to work. So now I'm going to use the silicone mat. Here he is. The silicone mat with a little bit of liquid glue. In fact, I've used this corner up here, so I'm going to use this corner again. And then a sponge. And I've just cut my sponge into quarters. They came in rounds and I cut them into corners, or into quarters, not corners, quarters. I'm going to put a little bit, maybe, of glue here. And then this piece here, I am going to just take and dab that glue right here on my tree. And I'm only going to use the 2 smaller trees, so I'm not even going to worry about that larger tree. Just a little bit of glue on there, and then a little bit of glue along the base here. There we go. And I'm going to set this down. I'm going to use the rest of my silicone mat here so I don't get glue on my work surface, and place this along the bottom. So there's just a little, and now I'm not worrying about if I'm at the bottom of my paper. I'm really looking at my deer's feet to see where I want my paper to be like this. Because then we're just going to turn it over and cut that extra away. Because we need this piece to be that 4 1/8 by 3 1/8. Okay, so I have it glued on there. I'm pretty happy. We'll put the silicone mat away, put the sponge away, and now I'm going to use my non-stick scissors, because I have some glue on there, and just trim away that extra brown that we don't need. And so it ends up like this. Throw that in the trash, get my scissors put away. There we go. So now I have a little piece there that has my little deer with the little tree, and bada bing, bada boom. So far, so good. Okay, we need to bring back in that trimmer, and we're gonna cut this into 1 3/8 inch segments, because 1 3/8 times 3 is 4 1/8. So get rid of my cutting blade, or my scoring blade, bring in my cutting blade, line it up. Now I have to go through 2 pieces of cardstock because of this, so I'm going to press pretty hard, but 1 2 1 3/8. There's my 3/8, and I'm going to just cut it. So there's 1, and then we're going to do it one more time. So let me find my 1 3/8. 1 1 2 1 3/8 right there. Whoops, I moved it. 1 2, there we go, 3/8, and then I'm going to cut this one too. So now I have my 3 pieces that are all 3 1/8 by 1 3/8. And I'm going to set them in the order they go, bring back in my card here, and these are going to layer right here on the front of our card in those little rectangles that we had. Okay, I'm going to just use some tape runner and put these down. And doggone it, I wished I could remember, off the top of my head, it's escaped me, the name of the lady or the demonstrator that I cased this card from. Her card is really cute. You'll have to go and check out her Christmas card. It's a little bit different. Well, it's a lot different than mine, to be honest with you, and worth checking out. I'm going to try to get it lined up so it looks like it's in a row, like a picture in a row. And then this one right here. There, you hear him down, and there we go, just like that. Look how cute our little shutter pop-up card is with our little deer on there. Okay, so like I said before, now I'm going to bring in that, let me show you from the stamp set. Whoop, wrong one. Now I said in my supply video, if you want to do a birthday card, I used the Simply Said. So that's what I did on this card. I turned it into a birthday card and it just says the happy birthday right here. I'm going to use the Merry Christmas in the reindeer stamp set, which I have set somewhere and can't find. You'll have to trust me. It's in the reindeer stamp set, which totally disappeared. Okay, so on this little strip here. But now I left this at a 1/2 inch. I think it's a little bit wide. So I'm going to first cut this down to about 1 centimeter. Let's see if that's the right size, and I'll mess mine up before you do yours. So I'm going to put this at 1 centimeter on my paper trimmer because I didn't know for sure if you wanted to use your own stamp set or if you wanted to use the Happy Birthday, Merry Christmas. So I made it a little bit longer so you could do with it as you wish. But that Merry Christmas and some red ink. Let's see if I can do this in the camera. Okay, looks pretty good. I try not to get my head in the camera, but if I do, just forgive me. I'm going to look down through that stamp, try to get it straight. Let that ink sink in. Let's see how I did. Oh, yeah, I'd say I did pretty good. I'll take that one. Okay. So then with my paper snips, I'm going to just separate these two words. See, I think the 1 centimeter is a really nice size for sentiment strips like this. Turn this over and cut this pretty close. I'm trying not to smear that ink that I probably should have let dry. I should have stamped it when I stamped everything, but I forgot. Okay, now we're going to add that to our card, and we have to make sure that it only sticks to one panel. You don't want any glue out here so that the Christmas is going to be too long. Will stick to both of them, so I'm only going to put some adhesive on this side of the sentiment. Take this, use a little bit of liquid glue. We all know that a little bit of that goes a long way. Let's see if I've smeared it. No, I didn't smear it. Yay! And set this about here. Let that glue do its job, and then bring in that Merry. See that there's no glue on this side, so it doesn't stick to this part. But that's elementary, right? We all know that. And then just take this little Merry. I'm going to kind of center it up there above my Christmas. Get my Christmas straight. There we go. And then it looks like that. Merry Christmas. And then on this side, this inside, whoop, which I haven't put in yet, let's put this one with that little deer with the red bow. Kind of gives it that Christmas flair. Of course, you could stamp any sentiment you want on the inside. I think I'll stamp the sentiment when I get ready to mail it. So we have our inside, we have our front, and then where did my little, here's my little birds. Now we're going to add our little birds to the front of our card. I'm going to just use my take a pick tool and pluck them off here and just put them, maybe one there. We'll get one up here in the corner and then maybe one right here. And there you go. So there's your little, so that's card number 1. Now this was the card that took a lot of time, although since I did some prep work in advance, it didn't take me quite as long as it did us today in the Zoom meeting, but it's a really cute card. And again, check the description to find out the link to the video of that I cased this from. Her card is really cute. Okay, second card, which is very simple. Looks like we talked about it, looks like this, right? And let me find those 2 pieces that we cut down earlier. I'm going to take those and just adhere them together. Waste not, want not, right? So now we've used that inside of our thing here for the card here. Where did my packet go? So I can, here it is. Okay, get these pieces out. This is a very simple card, yet it has a little bit of wow to it. So I think if you're looking to make a ton of cards or a lot of Christmas cards, this would be an easy, quick, but yet beautiful card. So we're going to take this as our basic beige and just fold it in half. Get that bone folder, get a nice crisp fold. Take this, I'm going to put this up on dimensionals. See if I can find in my mess here. Here's some dimensionals. I like to do 5, 1 in each corner, 1 in the middle to make sure his tummy doesn't sag. There we go. Turn that over and get it into the center. That look pretty good? Yep, looks pretty good. Okay, now we need to do some die cutting, which I have done in advance, but let me show you what I did. So you have this little piece of glimmer red. We're going to take in the die set this little set of berries and cut those out. And then on this green piece, we need 2 of these holly leaves cut out of that. And like I said, I've done all the work in advance, so I should have them right here. You don't have to watch me die cut. And they look like this when it's all said and done. Okay, so we have those pieces. Put my dies away so I don't lose them. Set that aside. Okay, so now we have our pieces. Make sure that after you cut these out, these little berries have little holes in them that kind of give them like the light or the look of a, so make sure you punch those out, or at least remove that cardstock from the back. Okay, these I'm going to kind of line up so the big leaf is at the bottom, just so the leaves are about the same. Put a little bit of glue here in the center. And just layer these just a little bit off. Maybe it looks like that. And then a little bit more glue in the center. And then put my berries on there. There we go. So they're in the center, and that's your holly leaf right there. Now, my holly leaf tends to look different every time. Where's my other one? This one looks different than that one. This one looks different than that one. In fact, let's check this out. Now, after I made your packets, I got this bundle in the mail, and look how pretty. If you want to step your card up just a little bit more, this would be a great bundle to use. This is the, whoops. Let me see if I have it here. No, maybe I don't. Let's see if I can find it. Bear with me. Well, I have the stamp set here. So the bundle is called, oh, here's the dies. The bundle is called Christmas Labels, and it has 4 dies like this that these words fit in. And look how pretty. That gives it just a little bit more elegance. Now, this isn't going to be as fast as the card that we're making today, because this is just a simple punch. And like punches, we all know punches are faster than die cutting, but that's just another option for you. Okay, so let's stop talking, Kathy. Let's get back to work. So let's go ahead and stamp these 2 pieces so they can dry as we're stamping, and we'll be able to go ahead and not smear anything. That's the main goal. So I'm going to first use real red ink, and I'm going to stamp that sentiment from the stamp set. Did I ever find it? Maybe not. It's around here somewhere. And I'm going to stamp this up. May all your days be full of cheer, and just stamp that little above center. There we go. And on this one, I'm going to stamp Christmas is better together. Now I have to find my, here it is, right here the whole time. Christmas is better together. It fits perfect on that little punched modern oval, but a lot of Christmas stamp sets or Christmas stamps would fit there too. So you could even put your favorite Christmas stamp and stamp it down. This is real red again. I'm going to just take that, and I'm going to kind of stamp it toward the bottom to give a little bit of room at the top for my holly leaves. There we go. And then we're going to use real red again, so I'm not going to put the ink quite away, but I'm going to bring in some old olive ink. That's the same color as our holly leaves. And this stamp here of the stamp set. This to me reminds me of like a half wreath. We're going to use that to decorate our words. Okay, so I probably lost you and I'm going to have to piece them together, but hopefully I can make the video work. Oh my gosh. Okay, my pill alarm went off and messed me all up. But we're going to stamp, I've got my words stamped. I'm going to stamp that half holly in Old Olive and just stamp it here and stamp it here. Looks like that. Put that Old Olive away, we're done with that. And then in the stamp set is these cute little tiny berries. Just like that. I'm going to take that in some real red ink and stamp them in the center here of our holly leaves. Something just like that. Just a little bit of red in there. You might have to turn it around, try to get it positioned just right. It gives a little bit of flavor to the inside. We're going to add this to the, where did our card go? Here he is. We're going to add this to the inside of our card. Like that. And then we're going to put this up on dimensionals. Put this on the front of our card, just smack dab in the center, and then a couple dimensionals on the leaves. Let me see where I want this to be placed. I want it, I think, to go like this, so I'm going to keep the dimensionals on this side. Maybe one here, one up here, and one, we'll see if that works like that. Yep, and then just set that right there. Last, we need to add our little gems here. These are the metallic. Oh, I'm not going to know the names of them. But I love mixing gold, silver, and bronze together. So you got one of each. And I'm going to just scatter these on our card. Where do I want this one? Maybe there? Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. This one, I put it down there. Maybe I should move him. Nope, I think he looks fine. So there you go. There's card number 2. Alrighty, thanks for watching. Sorry about the alarm interruptions. If you have any questions, be sure and give me a call. Let me see if I can get all my cards here that we made today during our Zoom meeting. Our alternate with the, here's the birthday one. And then, of course, the card that I include that I made for you. Alrighty, there's October Stamp Club. I hope everything works out. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.